Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast with STARKE, and I am very appreciative of you guys that took your time to go to my previous episode that was released and watched it. I know it might be very little, but I do appreciate every single one of you. I do not take it for granted. Kindly hit the like button, subscribe, and also reshare to your friends, family, or whoever might need like a form of encouragement throughout my podcast. So the last podcast was just mainly about like get to know me, who I am, what I do, and where I'm at. And this time around, I'm just going to be sharing my experiences on a very touchy topic that I really do not enjoy talking about because there's a lot of controversies that goes on with this particular topic. But I am still going to go ahead and do it either ways because I do wish I had this information prior to getting to this point in my life, in my career, right? It would have made so much sense, but a lot of things happen for a lot of reasons. While I'm appreciative that I was able to learn, I am going to use the experience I have, put it out there for whoever might be needing this in their future endeavors. Okay, so come with me as we go. Okay, so we're going to be talking about moving abroad, literally immigration. I am not going to dive in deep. Like I said, it's my experiences and what I think helped me and all of those things. So when I say moving abroad, I say lessons I had to learn the hard way. When I say the hard way, yes, the hard way. It was really, really the hard way. I really wished I had somebody talk to me about this. You know, it would have made so much difference. But we thank the Lord. Well, where we are, and either ways, a lot of things happen for different reasons, right? So when I relocated, I really didn't have so much access to information in sense whereby like things that would help me survive. As a new immigrant in a new country, we're talking about your first job. You're talking about career growth. You're talking about strategizing, right? You're talking about trying to show up and learning some kind of adjusting to the culture in the particular location you are in. And yeah, most of those things, I didn't know it. I do not feel sad about that, but I am putting this forward to whoever might be in this shoe. And so you don't so you get to use it. If you want to use it, fine. If you don't want to, it's totally up to you. But I'm just like sharing this on my platform. Like I said, the goal of this podcast is to help as much as I can, inspire a lot of people, encourage people, and just be a safe space to talk about a lot of realities, right? So what do you need to know when you relocate? It's not going to be so rosy, right? It's going to be a new thing entirely. Like your life literally is taking a new turn away from what you're used to, from wherever you're coming from. And the ability to be patient, to trust the process, to have hope, even when everything is crashing, is what would be useful in determining how your growth would be. I don't know if you get that, but yeah. Now, I'm going to jump into, I'm not going to do so much about your first house, your first apartment. I don't know if I need to do that. I feel like a lot of videos are out there talking about that. And I really don't have any like special thing that I would want to share as regards that. I feel like, honestly, it was literally what people do, I did, and it works for me. Like, that's it. So I'm just going to jump into the one that I really feel a lot of immigrants should know about. So this is about your first job. Honestly, your first job is not going to be what you were doing back home. If it will be, good for you. If it's not going to be, absolutely good for you. Everything is a win here. When you get your first job, you're happy about it, regardless of wherever or whatever industry you get the first job from. So, your first job, are you navigating in that environment? Are you adjusting to the work culture? Like, do you know what it means to be emotionally intelligent when you get your first job? I'm saying this because I'm African and I'm Nigerian. Yeah, I'm African, I'm Nigerian, right? And from where I come from, this might be something that a lot of people don't agree with, but we don't really have rigid, I don't know how to put it, like there's really no rigidity in your workplace, right? It's literally black or white, right? But when you come to a new country, you have to drop that knowledge somewhere if you want to survive. So this is what I would say. You don't want to be nonchalant, right? You like every minute counts here, wherever you relocate to. You're not the person that is showing up late, thinking it doesn't matter. You're not the person that is signing contracts and you don't read what is in the contract. You're not the one saying, signing like when your manager says, oh, I do have this policy I need you to read, right? Sign it and give it back to me. You're not the one that doesn't go through your documents as you should. The problem here is a lot of people just feel like, you know what, it's just a piece of document. I'm just going to sign it and get over with it. But reality is there's so much hidden information in those documents that when you don't get to read it, you miss out on a lot of helpful things in your career, your first job, wherever you'd find yourself, right? Like I'll say, the culture is very different and you should be able to like navigate that properly. Nobody wants to be patient with you because you just relocated. No, nobody cares about the fact that you traveled and this is your first job. No, you got the job, you accepted the offer, you are expected to do the work. You're expected to know exactly what you're doing. So if you're the type that would sign a contract without going through what it entails, you'll be in deep shit. Let's say you don't know how sick hours work. You don't know how vacation pay works. You don't know how leave of absence work. You will be in deep shit. A lot of people come into a new job and there's this nonchalant attitude that literally on the first day of your work, you're literally so nonchalant. You're signing documents without like going through it. You don't know what information you would need. And at the end of the day, when you get into a trouble or something like a misunderstanding, they pull out whatever document you signed because it's an agreement that I don't understand this. I agree with whatever you're stating in that document. I agree that I have read it. I understand whatever things are in the document. And when you put your signature on it, it's valid. It's a legal document, right? So there is an issue that comes up at work. You sign the document, they pull it up. I'm sorry, regardless of whatever you'd say, you signed that document. A signature on a document literally means you read, you understood, you proofread, you probably gave it to a lawyer. So nobody is going to want to listen to, oh, I didn't know that existed. Oh, I didn't know that's how it works here. Oh, I'm sorry, I would do better. No, it's way different over here, right? So be the kind of person that when you get a call, I need you to sign this document and send it to me ASAP. Be that person that says, I would need like a day or two to go over this document and get back to you as soon as I can. You could give a deadline, probably before the end of the into this time. Be that kind of person, because your career is on the line. Your life is on the line. I'm not trying to scare you. Like I said, job is something that I really see a lot of people get in trouble, like lots of people. So that being said, documents entails a lot of things. It tells you about the sick policy, it tells you about vacation, it tells you about policy that governs your place of work. Like, you're a kind of person that is used to putting on 3 bottles of cologne on your body before you leave your house. There's some place of work that says no scent. So you signed that document. You're going to work, you have your Versace, you have your Valentino, you have all of those expensive perfumes. You're like, oh, I just arrived. You get to work, somebody that, because it's literally stated, no scent, right? So definitely, if anybody perceives anything from you, ASAP, they're bringing it up to the manager, letting them know that I do understand that we have a policy that says no scent. So why is this person putting on 5 different scents to work? So those kind of issues are things that could be avoided if you're the kind of person that takes your time to read, understand, proofread. If you need a lawyer, yes, do it. Because it is what it is. Nobody's reporting you. You failed to read your documents. You didn't follow the workplace policy. And yes, that will be brought up to the manager. So they take action on whoever. Literally, that's it. So don't think somebody doesn't like you. No, the rules are rules and it has to be followed. So I just made an example like that. A lot of other things could happen. Let's say, oh, you have this pressing need. You need to go visit family. You need to go on a vacation. And you're just like, badging into your manager's office. You're like, well, I did put up a request for vacation. And I want to know if I could just you're just trying to find other means to take your vacation that particular time you need it. In that document you signed before you accepted your job offer, or after you accepted your job offer, whatever way it is, it will be stated there that this is how vacation works. So you're going to your manager, bringing that up. I don't know how structured people's workplace would be, but there's a structured way to request for vacation, and everything is literally stated out in those documents you sign. So going to your manager, making it a big deal, you will be found as a confrontational person. You'll be seen as a person that doesn't understand, a person that is confused. I'm sorry, yes, you want to go on your vacation. Oh yes, it's very important, but there are rules, right? And it has to be followed. So literally, just be smart. Read your documents, sign it, and understand the information. Okay? So the second one I want to talk about is there is this thing a lot of people are very guilty of. Know when to speak at your workplace. Right? Don't be the person that talks a lot. Don't be the person that doesn't talk at all. Right? Don't be the person that talks a lot, and don't be the person that doesn't talk at all. I would explain this very clearly. So you might be like, oh, I really don't like to talk. I'm not really the chatty type of person. I am so much into myself. You're a place of work, girl. You're working. So there's something called interpersonal relationship. You have to drop that wherever you're coming from. Learn to build effective communication skills. Learn to know how to interact. Because you're not having any conversation with anybody at work, people begin to question, how is your interpersonal skills? How are you able to solve an issue, a conflict? Are we trusting you enough to are we confident that you have the skills required for this job? Literally every job requires you to have great interpersonal skills. I really don't know which one doesn't, but I just feel like 90% of the jobs out there literally requires you to have interpersonal skills. So you have to build that skill. You have to be able to like know how to interact with people. It can be very difficult, I get it, but this is very important, right? Now, not being a person that talks a lot, is just knowing that there are a lot of boundaries. Don't just be careless with the way you speak. People have boundaries. People like to be respected. People don't like when you just look at them and you're just like, you think you have the power to just like talk in a very disrespectful way. It might not feel disrespectful to you as a person, but remember, when you talk to people, you're not putting your feeling. Whatever you feel about whatever you just said is not important. It's how that person felt about the way you spoke or whatever you said. So it might not be a big deal to you. You might not even say up to 10 words, but those 10 words you said, you've literally spoken too much. Like you've crossed a big boundary. You've disrespected that person. So it's just you being culturally aware, just being aware of your environment. Like build that self-awareness. Know when to speak. Know when to have conversations. Don't be mute. You're at a workplace. Your contributions are very important. Okay, so that being said, I think those are the only things I would like to say about like your first job, because it doesn't determine how great your life will be. Your first job might literally be the one that you get to learn a lot of things, but whatever you're going in with, however you're going into your first job, we just help to, we will help that curve. Like the higher you go, the more learned you are, right? So that's why I just said that it's something I would like to talk about, because yes, there's a very deep gap in knowledge about this. I feel like the rest of the things I'll talk about are things you'd find online. Like a lot of people have videos about, oh, this is what you should know about your first job, this is how you do it. I'm not going to dive into that. This is just what I felt like would be helpful to others, that I did wish I was told this before I got my first job. Okay, so that being said, I hope that helps you in a little way. I really hope it helps you. Trust me, I'm trying my best, but yeah. That's been said. Okay, now let's move to the second point. Tips that helps me grow. I just feel like I was very patient. Like I was trusting the process, right? I wasn't beating myself up so much for not moving as fast as I should. To be honest, like I was literally so, this is the point in my life where I have to be patient. I have to trust the process. And I think that's literally what helped, coupled with the fact that I was in a very deep relationship with God. It's not easy showing up. It's not easy waking up at weird times to go to work. It's not easy smiling at work when you don't even do that on a regular day, right? It's not easy trying to bring up conversations when you're not a chatty person. So those are the sacrifices, like the compromise you have to do, like you have to make. So for me, it was just me just trusting whatever process was going in. Like if it was going right, I was trusting the process. I was also putting in more effort in myself and just adjusting, right? Like I wasn't so rigid. I'm not like, well, this is how I am, nobody can change me, blah blah blah. No, I wasn't like that. I was ready to change. I was very flexible. I was very open-minded, right? I took corrections, like corrective feedback. Sometimes I would have people talk to me and be like, well, this thing you just did wasn't very helpful, and you know what, maybe you need to work on XYZ. I was very, I was literally glad that, okay, this is something I am very much open to. I love corrective feedbacks, and I'm somebody that when you correct me about something, especially when it comes to career, job, and all of those things, I take it like I literally work on it. So I was not being rigid. I was being very flexible. I was not being too hard on myself. Like I said, I was trusting the process. I don't know where it was gonna lead to, but I was trusting that process. And I feel like different people have what worked for them, but that's what worked for me, right? And just being very prayerful as well. You know, building that relationship with God really works for me as well. So that being said, about community, a lot of people talk about you need community, you need to go to a church, and all of these things. To be very honest, you literally pick what works for you. If you're the kind of person that feels like, you know what, I don't think community is my thing, I am more of like a do it alone kind of person, I'm not really a big fan of big circle, well, I would say just do what works for you. Just because people say this is it doesn't mean you have to do it. Remember, you're the light of the world, and you don't conform. You brighten up wherever you go to. Literally, that was just a Bible verse, and that was something Pastor Bolaji preached today in church, and it's just been ringing in my head. So, yes, you're the light of the world, and you don't have to conform to whatever anybody says, right? So, community doesn't work for you, great. It works for you, fine. Do what works for you. So I don't have so many things to say about that. Just like wherever you relocate to, there are lots of groups, like in the church. I think, in the church, maybe, that's like where most of the groups are. Or maybe you relocated with some of your friends, you know, you guys could have a good community together. And yes, if it works for you, fine. If it doesn't, totally okay. It doesn't have to be community, right? You would question yourself a lot of times. I feel like people don't like to talk about this path. Like, a lot of people just want to talk about a lot of people just ignore some parts that needs to be shared. Some, like, you question yourself a lot. There are times where you think, am I really making the right decision right now? There are times where you'd have a chat with your colleague and be like, oh bro, oh sis, I want to do XYZ. What do you think? And their response will literally shatter you as a person. But this is where I say, you standing firm in what you believe in matters a lot, because you meet a lot of people that have second opinion about whatever decision you're about to make. Not just saying their opinion is wrong. That's how they feel about whatever you want to do, and that's how it makes sense to them. It doesn't mean they don't like you. It doesn't mean they're being negative towards you, right? It has to be, you want to do this. I say this a lot. If you have something really burning in your heart that you want to do, talk to God about it, right? And you figure it out yourself. So the part about questioning yourself is like where you feel like, okay, am I making the right choice? Am I doing what's best for me right now in my career and all of those things? You can have mentors. You can have big sis, big bro to talk to you about some things, but you have to be able to make some certain decisions about your life, about your career. You have to be able to take risks. Like, I feel like taking risks is just very important, because in as much as that sounds very weird, but it is important. So you question yourself a lot, and trust me, you'll be fine. Absolutely, 100%. You would just be fine. Okay, so I feel like that's all I have. Yeah, that's all I have about experiences that I learned the hard way. Yes, I learned the hard way that it was good for me to communicate effectively at work. I learned the hard way it was good for me to not be rigid, to be flexible, to be open-minded. All of these things I'm saying are things that I learned, and it has shaped who I am today. Right. So what I would just say is when you think about moving abroad, don't look at, oh, you're just coming to a fairy tale place where things will be very easy for you. Obviously, things will be easy. We've had our good days. We've had our bad days. We've had the days where we'll be like, oh God, thank you. I am grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be this person saying, I finally made it. Yes, but please be prepared to face challenges. Challenges are not like negative things. Like even in the Bible, all of the big people in the Bible had challenges before they got to where they are, right? Like David, Daniel, all of those people had some certain kind of challenges and they were able to overcome it. So just be prepared that things might not just go the way you've planned it to be. It doesn't mean you're making the wrong decision. It just means maybe you have to just go back to God and ask that, God, how do I navigate this, right? So you would have a lot of quiet moments. You have a lot of questioning yourself, self-doubt, and sometimes self-loads. Sometimes you'll be like, damn, did I just do this to myself? But trust me, it happens and you would just be fine. So it's a great thing to make that big decision to want to like do something that would change your life forever. It's a great thing. Like, it's very admirable. It's a very courageous thing to make that decision. People are making it. You would make it, right? You would make it. Just trust the process. Trust God. Involve God. Have a very good relationship with Jesus. Like, literally, I feel like that's the secret. Have a good relationship with Christ, because He is the beginning and He's the end. Before you relocated, He knows what's best for you. So just have a very good relationship with Christ. I can't stress this a lot. It doesn't mean going to church 100 times. Having a good relationship with Christ is very subjective. But have a good relationship with Christ and you will just be fine. Like, everything will just work out the way it's supposed to be. And I feel like that's the end of the podcast. For people that don't know, I worship at Stars, Pastor Bolaji though, and yes, my life has really improved in my relationship with God, and it's still improving. There are sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I messed up again. But really, I'm not I'm just very proud to say I worship at Stars, and we'll be having NLP Nigeria March the 13th. There is a bus for everybody wherever you are in Nigeria. I don't know when they'll bring out the flyers or something like that, but don't make excuses. I think what Pastor Bolaji said today, that they won't be streaming the program. That's sad, but it's okay. But if you're in Nigeria, please make it a date with Christ Jesus, okay? It's just, I don't know how many hours it's going to be, but it's just a good day to serve the Lord again. Have expectations and invite somebody to come worship God together, because it's just what you need to have a good life. The journey might be shaky, but with God, even if the journey is shaky, it will be easy, because His blessings would never forsake you. Like, there are a lot of Bible passages that say, I will be with you, don't be scared. Okay, so I'm just using that medium to invite you to church. Please attend the conference and have a great time with Christ. Thank you so much for staying to this point, listening to the podcast. I'm sure you got one or two from here. Once again, it's STARKE Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends, tell your friend, and tell your friend. Okay, I'll see you all in my next episode. Bye.